Hogsmeade looked like a Christmas card. The little thatched cottages and shops were all covered in a layer of crisp snow. There were holly wreaths on the doors and strings of enchanted candles hanging in the trees. From Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Why is Hogsmeade so magical? Hogsmeade is a magical place in both the Harry Potter books and movies. But why? What makes Hogsmeade so magical to read about and learn about? It's easy to dismiss the charms of the medieval town as due to the general magic of the wizarding world. But in this video, I will go deeper and investigate the enchanting Hogsmeade. My analysis uses both the film and book of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm Madeline Rose Jones, and I explore the world through fiction. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, our protagonist and hero can't join his friends at Hogsmeade. Eventually, with the help of Fred and George Weasley, Harry uses the Marauder's map to go there. It's also Christmas, and Hogsmeade is covered with snow. Singing choirs, bustling shops, and colourful food and drink. From a reader's or viewer's perspective, Hogsmeade is obviously magical. This is especially true when one considers our own modern world. Go to a city like New York or Sydney, and you'll see tall skyscrapers, modern development, large clusters of people, and lots of noise and street traffic. Postmodern concerns of nihilism, superficiality, and cynicism haunt our lives. This is very different to a trip to Hogsmeade, where the concerns are where's the best place for butterbeer. Hogsmeade is magical, partially because it's different, very different, to our contemporary cities and towns. Where a studio flat feels cold and sterile, Hogsmeade is homely and cosy. Hogsmeade is also reminiscent of medieval European towns such as Rothenburg in Bavaria and Stein am Rhein in Switzerland. If you've ever visited these magical places, you'll understand what I mean. These are well-preserved towns with history, charm, and adventure. From this angle, it seems like Hogsmeade's magic lies in how different it is to modernity. After all, one of the strengths of the Harry Potter books is how the reader can see magic in our own world. J.K. Rowling is really great at making ordinary locations as places of magic. But let's go a step further. Hogsmeade is magical, primarily because it's a Christmas town. The term Christmas town is used to describe European, mainly German towns, which have Christmas markets, maybe a church or a cathedral, carols, and lots of Christmas cheer. Although Rothenburg is a clear example, I would also mention Colmar in Alsace and Nuremberg in Bavaria. Every year, bar COVID, thousands of people travel to these towns around Christmas. What's fascinating about European history is the development of Christmas celebrations. By the High Middle Ages, Christmas became associated with joy and cheer. Cathedrals such as York Minster and various Notre Dames in France had feasts and week-long celebrations. Although Christmas back then, in the High Middle Ages, is very different to Christmas today, there are similarities that still exist. But of course, Hogsmeade is not a German town or a French one. It's British, especially Scottish. It does not belong in continental Europe. In the film version of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the setting is during Christmas time. It's not uncommon for Harry Potter to have such a wondrous, dream-like Christmas atmosphere. The previous books do. But what I like about Christmas in Hogsmeade is how British it is. More specifically, Victorian. Much of our modern associations of Christmas, such as the Christmas tree, came to prominence in the Anglosphere through the Victorian period. Although Christmas trees were used in Germany, They weren't really introduced in Great Britain until Queen Victoria came along. Under Queen Victoria's rule, a distinct style of architecture rose in prominence. I'm sure you know which one I'm referring to. Victorian architecture can be found all over the British Empire. Personally, I quite like it. I live in Sydney, Australia, and there's a building in the main business district called the Queen Victoria Building, or QVB for short. It's one of Sydney's best buildings, but it's also a shopping centre. This comes at no surprise to any historian of the British Empire, as shopping and commerce thrived and developed under Queen Victoria. Many shops today in the United Kingdom have Victorian exteriors, or at least some style of neo-Gothic. And as we see with Hogsmeade, many of the shops are reminiscent of this style. A store of particular note is Honeydukes, which sells sweets. The store itself would be claustrophobic if it wasn't so charming. There's dust in the cellar, wooden staircases, tins of lollies and candy, and plenty of Hogwarts students. What's remarkable about Hogsmeade isn't just the Victorian shape of the shop, or its establishment during 1641. It's the sense of nostalgia. When I first read Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, I was a little girl. I found it magical, but more so as an adult. Hogsmeade makes the viewer or reader reflect on happy occasions. This is complemented by how Harry gets to Hogsmeade. Originally, he can't go because his guardians have not given permission. However, with the Marauder's map, he sneaks into Hogsmeade. Although the Prisoner of Azkaban is darker than the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, we get to see Harry on an adventure. Complemented with the awesome world building, Hogsmeade is also magical due to the reader's feelings of nostalgia. And sometimes we are nostalgic for periods we did not even live in. A strength of Harry Potter has always been the unique blending of medieval, classical, and Victorian inspiration. It's easy to assume Hogsmeade is magical because it's similar to a medieval town like Rothenburg in Germany. To a certain extent, this is true. In 2017, I had the pleasure of visiting Rothenburg around Christmas time with my sister and mother, and honestly, it was one of the best days of my life. I saw snow for the first time, which as an Australian was pretty awesome. While researching this video, I came across an academic journal article. The author mentioned a pretty cool concept called the magical gaze. It's when we visit a historic city like York in Northern England and imagine it as a place of magic. Even though we know J.K. Rowling's world is fiction, we can't divorce ourselves fully from it. In typical Harry Potter fashion, J.K. Rowling uses world building to flesh out Hogsmeade. According to Harry Potter lore, Hogsmeade was founded in either the 10th or 11th century AD, around the same time as Hogwarts. A wizard named Hengist of Woodcraft, oh by the way I apologise for any butchering of pronunciations here, was fleeing persecution from Muggles. Not much is known about the founder, other than he is a Hufflepuff and on a chocolate wizarding card. Later historic events in Hogsmeade include the Goblin Rebellion. Also worth noting is that out of all the Harry Potter books, Hogsmeade isn't mentioned or featured often in comparison with other locations. This is great because it creates a sense of mystery. We don't know everything about Hogsmeade, and we are curious to find out. Of course, feelings of mystery and nostalgia are often confronted with melancholy. Although I enjoy the Hogsmeade scenes, there's a feeling of sadness. It's no wonder Harry finds out that Sirius Black is his godfather. Whilst eventually, this turns out to be a joyous fact, Harry still has to confront the murder of his parents and his connection with a killer. The scene takes place at the Three Broomsticks, which could be just as old as Hogsmeade. Although, initially, the scene is sad, the Three Broomsticks becomes associated with joy and friendship. It has a friendly ambience and good atmosphere, and although it may be a place for adults and older students, it is still reminiscent of medieval inns and taverns. Now, in modern times, you can enjoy a meal at a cozy cafe in France. Part of why Europe is so popular with tourists is because of food and dining. It's a lovely experience to get French cuisine opposite Versailles. You can't get that experience at home. One of Hogsmeade's charms is how much food there is, from butterbeer to chocolate to confectionery. I love how J.K. Rowling put in so much detail with the food. It adds a unique dimension to Hogsmeade. Food and drink aren't just dietary concerns. They are social occasions or ways to express deep sentiments of love and friendship. These are the main reasons why Hogsmeade is magical. It's the perfect mix of fact and fiction, history and magic, childhood and adult life. You can find pieces of Hogsmeade all over Europe and in our imaginations. Make sure you comment with any thoughts you have about Hogsmeade. I'd love to read them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.